Welcome back to Hannity and Colmes. I'm Alan Colmes. A judge ruled today that a second Million Youth March can be held this Saturday in New York City's Harlem neighborhood, despite very loud objections from the New York City Mayor, Rudy Giuliani. Attorneys for the city argue the rally should not be protected by the First Amendment because they say organizers want to incite violence. At last year's march, 28 people were injured, including 16 police officers, in a wild melee that erupted when the event's main organizer, the controversial Khalid Abdul Muhammad, whipped the crowd into a frenzy.
Stop asking me about the Jews being the bloodsuckers of the black nation. The no good bastards. They are the bloodsuckers of the black community. And if you don't have a gun, every one of them has one gun, two guns, maybe three guns in self-defense. If they attack you, take their guns from them and use their guns on them.
Will this year's rally increase the peace or lead to more violence? Joining us now in Houston, Texas, is Quanell X, Minister of Information for the new Black Muslim Movement and the new Black Panther Party. In Los Angeles, the Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, president of BOND, the Brotherhood Order for a New Destiny. Welcome, both of you, once again to Hannity and Colmes. Reverend Quanell X, that kind of hateful speech, I support the right of the organizers to assemble and to speak, and I'm glad the city granted that right today, but that is hateful speech, isn't it?
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, by the of God, Khalid Muhammad is his messenger, greeting the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. First of all, that's not hateful speech to me, because he was only instructing the crowd that if they were attacked by Mayor Rudolph Giuliani's police department, how to defend themselves. He was giving instructions to the brothers and sisters that were there, the proper way to defend themselves. That's all he was doing.
Well, let me show you one of the other things that he said during that march last year. Here's one of the other statements that was made by Khalid Muhammad. He said, you're going to have to deal with me. I ain't asking no questions, and I ain't taking no prisoners. I'm taking heads off. I'm shooting in the back. I'm shooting in the face. I'm aiming for the heart, and I ain't begging. Is that hateful speech?
Minister Khalid Abdul Muhammad was speaking directly to those who wish to attack and brutalize black people. And Minister Khalid Abdul Muhammad has taught all of us that white folks have two choices with us. They can pay up or blow up, barbecue or mildew. We'll take your purse first and spank your ass last.
But listen, that sounds very poetic. But you know, when you stand at a rally and use words like that, it's incendiary and it can incite people, can't it?
But the day is all over to where we will allow you to attack us, and all we have is a prayer vigil. We don't teach young black people to lift every voice and sing. If they're attacked, we teach lift every black fist and swing. The days of you all running over us and beating us and sicking dogs on us is all over, sir.
We will take a short break. We'll come back with Quanell X, and you'll hear the Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson's response to the next segment. Stay with us on Hannity and Colmes.
The city is operating in bad faith. When you continuously lose these decisions, it is your duty to sit down with the organizers and work out the security, work out the parameters with the police to make sure that there are no misunderstandings that would possibly lead to violence. But it is arrogance and political pressure. It is the arrogance of Giuliani that he will continue to fight the Million Youth March.
Welcome back to Hannity and Colmes. I'm Sean Hannity. We're discussing the controversial Million Youth March scheduled for Saturday in Harlem, New York. Joining us, Quanell X. He's the Minister of Information for the new Black Muslim Movement and the new Black Panther Party. In those pictures we showed earlier, he was right to the left of Khalid Muhammad. The Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson joins us, President of BOND, Brotherhood Organization for a New Destiny. Jesse, let's bring you in on this. First of all, I think the city did do the right thing by trying to stop this thing. On the other hand, I think the decision is solid. Let them march. The city's in a no-win situation here, Jesse, because they're going to march anyway. Yes. Quanell's clear about it. Khalid's clear about it. And anybody that wants to start trouble, anybody that wants to march, any place, any time, they're going to be able to do it. So, in essence, as long as it's controlled, as long as the people in the community are safe, as long as the police are ready for his incendiary rhetoric and his the venom that will be spewed by these guys, and so what?
Sean, Saturday will be another sad day in America, but this is to teaching the brainwashing of the black community over the last 40 years by people like Jesse Jackson and Maxine Waters, the NAACP, the Black Caucus, the liberal elite.
Yeah, but
whites,
Jesse,
and Louis
Farrakhan and Khalid are more dangerous. And I'll tell you why. I think they're more dangerous. And I'll tell you why. Because the rhetoric is so extreme, so anti-white, so anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic. It's clear, and the violence, it's laid out in front of you. And what they do is they all, look at Quanell. He dresses like Farrakhan. He named his son after Farrakhan and Khalid. They dress like each other, walk like each other, talk like each other. They sing the same poetry from the same hymnal. They're a bunch of zombies.
Well, Sean, you're absolutely right. This is a dangerous, racist organization, and it is the teaching of Louis Farrakhan, but at least we know where they're coming from. A lot of black people, there are many black people who are angry at America, and they are angry at white Americans because they have been taught to be angry over the last 40 years. The one good thing about this group is that we can now associate them or classify them as being no different than the Ku Klux Klan's organization.
Excuse me, I have to say something. First of all, we don't have a history as Muslims of harming any white people, burning any churches, burning any synagogues. We don't have the history of dragging people down streets, hanging them and lynching them from trees and limbs. We don't have the history of carrying out acts of violence. But Reverend Peterson, let me say this to Reverend Peterson.
Are you the same group that attacked a black city council in New York last week because you disagreed with your
Councilman Perkins.
Are you the same group?
Reverend Peterson.
Are you the same group?
Reverend Peterson, you remind me of
Are you the same group?
Excuse me, sir.
This is the same.
I know nothing about that.
Quanell X, New York City Councilman Bill Perkins says that Khalid Muhammad, who you represent, told him, "We're going to kill Uncle Toms like you." Do you want to deny that that was said?
First of all, let me say this. Unless someone can give me some kind of videotape footage, some recording, what Minister Khalid Abdul Muhammad is stating that there's no proof the man said that. That's only personal hearsay.
This is a very violent organization. And we have Louis Farrakhan to thank for that, but we also have America to thank for that because we have allowed the young people to be brainwashed with this type of hatred over the last 40 years.
And Quanell, it's not that hard to believe. When Louis Farrakhan spoke at Madison Square Garden, right after then city clerk, future mayor at the time, David Dinkins, questioned Farrakhan's anti-Semitism, and then Khalid Muhammad said, or rather, Farrakhan said that he should not be allowed to live, or questioned whether he should be allowed to live. That kind of rhetoric is consistent, so it's not hard to believe that that was said to Councilman Perkins, isn't it? It's consistent with the rest of your rhetoric.
The language that you're speaking of, that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan used at Madison Square Garden, you're taking Minister Farrakhan out of context.
I put it in context.
If you would quote him correctly in text, you would understand, but you don't desire to understand.
Well, put it in context for me, then.
You don't want to understand.
When he questioned whether David Dinkins should be allowed to live, tell me how that's in context.
Sir, you white folk are mad that that's a black man that you cannot control. And the bottom line is your days of controlling the language of black people is all over. And to Reverend Peterson.
You're not telling the truth.
But I must speak to Reverend Peterson.
You're not telling the truth that they're taking Louis Farrakhan
Reverend Peterson, I did not cut you off, sir.
As a younger man, I used to listen to Louis Farrakhan, and I know exactly how he brainwashed and he feeds on the anger of black young people, gang members,
Reverend Peterson,
and people from broken homes, so they're not lying about it.
I must say this to you, brother. As my elder, and you are my elder, I respect you. But you remind me of a head-bowing, knee-bending, boot-licking, behind-kissing old Negro preacher. And the sad part about it is...
What is it that
let me finish, though.
Let
Reverend Peterson, allow me to finish, sir.
Why does Reverend Peterson have to be insulted by this guy?
Hold on, everybody's talking at once. Quanell, finish what you were saying, then let Reverend Peterson
is a sellout, window-dressing house Negro. And what you should do, Reverend Peterson, is make an appointment with the dentist and go get you some teeth instead of being a snagger sellout against black liberation.
Why do you have to reduce yourself to name-calling? Why is that the level to which you want to take this argument?
Let me tell you why.
Reverend Peterson is a hypocrite. That's why.
Let's get Reverend Peterson's response. Reverend Peterson.
Let me tell you why. Because any blacks in America who love their country, who love God, who love what is right, automatically become an enemy of these people. Their hatred of white America is associated with any black who stand up for what is right. But I refuse to give in to that. I refuse to bow down to this type of anger, this type of cowardness from this person or Louis Farrakhan.
You're already bowing down, sir.
Anybody that disagrees with you, you know, this is sad, Quanell. Anyone disagrees with you is a sellout. You call them names. You try and intimidate them. Reverend Peterson, it's good that you're standing up. We'll take a break. Here's some information if you'd like to contact us.
Welcome back to Hannity and Colmes. I'm Alan Colmes. Khalid Muhammad, who you represent, Quanell X, this kind of rhetoric, and you use the same kind of rhetoric he uses. I don't believe you represent most Americans and most African Americans. Would that be a correct statement, Reverend Peterson?
Yes, it is. Let me just say, at Bond, we're rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. The problems in the black community today is not due to racism, but the lack of families, the lack of fathers and mothers working together. Khalid and the man that's on the program right now, they have been recreated in the image of Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan is a racist. He hates America, and to be honest with you, he really hates black Americans, because if he didn't, he wouldn't bring all this kind of anger, this kind of hatred within them. So what we have to do as Americans, blacks and whites, is stand together against this and not allow it to happen, because we're all going to suffer if this continues.
Quanell X, you don't want to stand together, though. You want reparations for blacks. You basically want a separate black country, don't you, or a separate black area in this country.
We're taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that if black people in America cannot receive justice, cannot receive equal justice under so-called white law, well, then we should separate. It's our divine right to separate. It's our constitutional right to separate.
Why don't you use your own common sense and stand up for what is right? Why do you need Louis Farrakhan or anyone to teach you this type of hatred? Where's your manhood? Where's your manhood?
Reverend Peterson, let me say this.
Where is your manhood?
Sir, Reverend Peterson, if I may say to you, sir, that the manhood that I have and what taught me to stop drinking, to stop getting high, to stop chasing women, to stop being great disrespecters of my community, myself, and my kind, what gave me and taught me an adequate and thorough knowledge of myself, what taught me to turn away from criminal and crime and criminal activity was Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Jesse, hang on a second. Let me jump in here. You sat there in the opening video that we showed in the segment, Quanell. You watched the man you worship, adore, and idolize and mimic and mock. Khalid called Jews bloodsuckers. He also once said, you know, Rubenstein, Goldstein, Silverstein, because the Jews have been stealing gold, silver, and rubies. Why would you hate Jewish people that much? Why do you call them those names? Why do you support that? Why didn't you have the courage to stand up and say that's wrong?
Sean, I don't hate Jewish people, sir.
You don't like them?
Because the original Jews are black Ethiopian Jews in Africa.
You know, you sound like
that's the original Jew.
It's the,
I guarantee you.
This is the hypnotic training. I mean, it's like this, they plug it in. Did you go to like a school to learn how to speak like Farrakhan and Khalid?
First of all, let me say this.
Everything, it's like everything they say, you say. You say every rhyme they sing, you sing. Every tie they wear, you wear. Do you think for yourself at all, Quanell?
Sean, let me say this.
Here comes a rhyme. Here comes a rhyme.
Sean,
come on, here, come on.
Your goal this evening, Sean, your goal is divide and conquer. Your goal is to pit one black man against another black man. Your goal is to get me to fight with Reverend Peterson.
We're out of time.
Sean, I know who the real enemy is, sir.
Let's hope things are peaceful in New York City this weekend. Jesse Lee Peterson, thank you.
All right,
and Quanell X, thank you. And you can reach Jesse Lee Peterson, by the way, at his website, www.bondinfo.org. That's it for tonight. Thank you for watching. Tune in tomorrow night for more lively debate on Hannity and Colmes. Good night.